Okay, let's call the meeting to order.
Thank you, Mr. President. At this time, I recommend the approval of the agenda as presented.
Do I have a motion to that effect?
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
I second
Do I
that
have
motion.
a second?
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you,
Motion
Mr.
carries.
President. Thank you, sir. I have no correspondence to report at this time. Under business action items, the consent agenda resolution. For the consent agenda, the board has been furnished with background material on each item where it's discussed the item at a previous meeting. Consent agenda items will be acted upon with one vote without discussion. If a board member wants to discuss any item, it will be pulled from the consent agenda and voted on separately. The consent agenda consists today of the following. Number one, minutes of the February 27th, 2020 special call board meeting. Number two, minutes of the March 16th, 2020 regular board meeting. Number three, minutes of the April 7th, 2020 special call meeting. Number four, bills and accounts for March. Number five, March financial report, and those bank statements have been reconciled. Item six, textbook adoption for health. Item seven, the technology initiative / flex lease agreement for Dell desktops. And item eight, the addition of a new sport at Muscle Shoals High School that will be boys and girls indoor track. Does any board member wish to have any item pulled from the consent agenda to discuss separately today? Hearing none, Mr. President, I recommend the consent agenda as presented.
All right, do I have a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented?
Mr. President, I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Do I have a second?
Mr. President, I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. President. Under item B, I recommend the temporary exception waiver to board policy 3.17.1 regarding food service charges.
All right. Do I have a motion to approve that that exception waiver as presented?
Mr. President, I make a motion that we accept the superintendent's recommendation to approve the temporary exception waiver to board policy 3.17.1 food services.
Do I have a second?
Mr. President, I second that motion.
All right, is there any discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. President. Under item C, I recommend the personnel report as presented.
Do I have a motion to accept the personnel report as presented?
I make a motion to accept the personnel report.
Do I have a second?
Mr. President, I second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you, Mr.
The
President.
next item on the agenda,
For the, just a minute, Mr. President, I'm gonna go ahead and share with the the audience and those that are looking in the personnel report. For the benefit of all those watching, the personnel report that was just approved consists of the following. Under item 1, resignation and retirement, Lynn Holt, special ed teacher at McBride Elementary School, and this is effective June 1, 2020. Under item 2, these are transfers or reassignments. Number 1, Julia Cord from Title I intervention teacher at Highland Park Elementary School to teacher at Highland Park Elementary School effective August 3rd, 2020. Shonda Baguette from Title I intervention teacher at Highland Park Elementary School to teacher at Highland Park Elementary School effective August 3rd, 2020. Brittany Calton from Title I intervention teacher at Howell Graves Preschool to teacher at Howell Graves Preschool effective August 3rd, 2020. Maggie Finley from math teacher at Muscle Shoals High School to science teacher at Muscle Shoals High School effective August 3rd, 2020. And Anna Grinnell from art teacher at McBride Elementary, Webster, and Highland Park Elementary to art teacher at Muscle Shoals Middle School effective August 3rd, 2020. Under item 3, employment, Blaze Armour, English teacher, Muscle Shoals Middle School. Victoria Lee, science teacher at Muscle Shoals Middle School. And Carly Malone, science teacher at Muscle Shoals Middle School. Under item 4, these are other personnel action or contract employment or supplemental assignments. And this will be a contract. Paul Ellis will now become the permanent head baseball coach at Muscle Shoals High School. This will begin in the officially in the 2020-2021 school year. There will be no teaching assignment involved. His compensation will be $5,000 as the head baseball coach, which is the supplement on the schedule for that position, and an additional $5,000 for coaching and supervision during the summer and fall periods of strength and conditioning training, no benefits to be paid. Mr. President, that's all I have on the personnel report at this time. And as we move to item D of the agenda, I will turn the meeting over to our president, Mr. Farrell Southern.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is the selection of the next superintendent. First, I'm going to call on Board Attorney Taylor Brooks for a quick update.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to provide a quick update on the process. Since the previous meeting, the finalist Chris Shaw withdrew his name from consideration. Therefore, there are 2 finalists remaining. Those finalists are Dr. Chad Holden and Dr. Alan Johnson. Both Dr. Holden and Dr. Johnson provided to me written answers to the questions presented to them that we discussed in our last meeting. I then provided these written responses to each of the members of the board. And these questions and answers will be posted on the board's website for about 2 weeks, I understand. A thorough background check was conducted on the candidates, which uncovered no issues with either Dr. Holden or Dr. Johnson. And once a superintendent is selected by the board, I'll work with the board president to negotiate a contract, and this contract will be presented to the board for a vote at the board's next regularly scheduled meeting. And that's all that I have.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Brooks, and I would like to thank you for everything that you have done about guiding us through this difficult time and trying to keep everything that we've had on a good timeline. And you've done a very good job with that, and we appreciate it. I thank both of the candidates that we have today for our superintendent's position would do an excellent job. I would be satisfied with either one. Now, with that being said, I will entertain any motions for the election of the next superintendent.
Mr. President, I move that the board select Dr. Chad Holden as the new superintendent and also authorize the board attorney to negotiate a contract with him.
Do I have a second?
Mr. President, I'll second that motion.
Okay. Is there any discussion? All right. That being said, I will now call for a roll call vote. Ms. Rudolph?
Mr. President, I vote for Dr. Chad Holden.
Okay. Mr. Thompson?
Mr. President, I vote for Dr. Chad Holden also.
All right. Mr. Stoddard?
I vote for Dr. Chad Holden.
All right. Mr. Wood?
I also vote for Dr. Chad Holden.
And I, myself, Farrell Southern, I vote for Dr. Chad Holden. Congratulations to Dr. Chad Holden. I look forward to working with him as the superintendent. Mr. Brooks will negotiate a contract with Dr. Chad Holden, and we will vote on the contract at the next meeting. Dr. Lindsay?
Thank you, Mr. President. As we move on to the superintendent's report, I do have a few things to report at today's meeting. First of all, a couple of students we would like to recognize. Alex King was Work-Based Learning Student of the Month for April through our Pathfinder program, and she works for the Colbert OBGYN. So congratulations to Alex on that recognition. Also, Fallon Haley through the Bryant Jordan program and banquet the other night that was held virtually. She received the Alabama A Club Charitable and Educational Foundation 2020 scholarship. So congratulations to Fallon on receiving that scholarship. Our digital learning seems to be going pretty well. I talked with Mr. Stevenson this morning. We're having minimal problems with that. Everything that they've encountered has been relatively minor and has been taken care of very quickly. So I want to thank Kevin Stevenson and his staff for working hard to ensure our distance and digital learning has run as smoothly as it has to this point and will continue to run. So that seems to be going well. I've not heard any negative complaints whatsoever. Everything I've heard with our digital learning has been very positive. Would like to thank Dr. Woods, our administrative staff, for preparing and getting all of the logistics worked out for that. As we move forward, I think this will make us stronger from a technological standpoint in the future, instructionally, as we move forward. So again, and with that being said, I want to thank our teachers as well for all the preparation and that they put in for ensuring the success and ensuring that learning continues with our students during this time. I know they've really worked hard in preparation to, number one, connect with our students, just to also have that connection from the school system with them about the health and the care of them and their families through this time, and then again to continue to provide the instruction for our students. So a big thank you to our teachers and staff, and I also want to thank the students. I know this has been a change from the normal routine, obviously, and I think again the students have stepped up and have done just a magnificent job in continuing their learning as we try to complete the school year, and obviously the parents. I think this has been a new norm, definitely for the parents. Thank you for providing basically new classrooms for our students during this time, for helping them with their lessons and their studies through this time. And I think hopefully a newfound respect for learning. I've gotten several texts. I'll quote one text I got from a parent And I quote, this teaching gig is a lot different than I thought it would be. When are y'all going to let these kids back in school? So, but we do appreciate the parents because I know it's a new norm for them as well, and they've done a great job helping their children and our students in learning for home. So, thank you to all of those that are involved in continuing to make this hopefully a success as we start to approach the end of the year. And then I officially, as I finish up, Mr. Southern, just like to officially congratulate Dr. Chad Holden. I want to thank the board for a very thorough process and for the job that you have done through this process. And like I said, I've known Dr. Holden a long time, and I think you've made a very strong choice there. He definitely has a passion for Muscle Shoals City Schools, and I've always respected his teaching and his leadership as long as I've been around him, and that's been quite a number of years now in Muscle Shoals City Schools. And I think he will do just an absolute excellent job in moving this system forward in the future. So congratulations to Dr. Holden. Mr. Southern, that's all I have to do.
All right. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mr. President, I make a motion that we adjourn this meeting.
Do I have a second?
I'll make a second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Motion carries. This meeting is adjourned.